since then?
There have been many memorable events.
Yeah, we've definitely made some progress on our journey.
I'm good.
So, where should we go today?
I mean, I already started, so there's no point in stopping now. Right? Wait a moment.
Huh? What's up?
I heard footsteps. What is that? That's a cool sword. Cool looking sword. Someone's coming?
Hey! What the heck was that for?
What's that? What? Why does this sword look cool
Doesn't
looking?
want to talk, huh? Alright, let's convince him to calm down a little.
Go Hazel! Go Hazel!
Truth hurts!
Huh? So you don't have a vision after all?
Wait, what?
Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right person before you go attacking them.
Oh my god, Primo is super stressed right now. Hello, Lutomi, how are you doing? Listen, Ganya's quest is gonna be done, okay?
No, wait! Even when you've got the right person, you shouldn't go attacking them out of the blue. It's dangerous.
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kaedehara Kazuha?
No, I never met them. What do you mean?
He
Who
carries
that?
a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animal vision.
Why are you looking for him?
That's none of your business.
Then don't involve me in your business.
Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
Bye.
What the heck is this guy's problem? Coming around here, waving that weird sword in our faces, and he didn't even apologize. Seems like a real nutcase. Well, one thing's for sure. No way are we telling him anything about Kazuha.
Very smart for once.
Hey, don't be mean. I'm unsmart lots of the time.
Right. I don't know if this is a sign. We'll see tomorrow.
Anyway, just to be on the safe side, we should go find Kazuha right away and tell him to watch his back.
I don't want to see Kazuha. I don't want to be disappointed when I don't get him. Inevitably. Actually, I have a hunch.
Oh? What kind of hunch?
I think this guy may have a special connection to Kazuha. How? How did you make that assumption?
A special connection? You mean beyond already knowing each other?
Their fighting style is similar? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a little. But then again, most people look pretty much the same once they start fighting, so that doesn't really prove anything.
That just proves that you're not smart at all.
Anyway, there's no time to lose. Let's go tell Kazuha so we won't get into any danger.
Exactly. When Paimon
Paimon
was
heard
smart.
that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there.
A strange and friendless road. Zhongli, hold my wallet, please, Zhongli. I'll give you my wallet. Don't let me fall for the Kazuha banner.
Hey! Hello? Do you know where Kazuha is?
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after all.
Chew.
Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time, as soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd of Inazumans, all of them wanting to know about Kazuha.
What did Kazuha do?
If it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beto had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention. Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
Oh, so you still don't know what he did.
Oh yeah, he protected us from Raiden Shogun. Oh, don't give my wallet to Zhongli. Oh yeah, true. He's probably gonna use it. Maybe Tartaglia can hold my wallet since he's already rich. Like, I can give my wallet to Tartaglia and he's gonna take such good care of it. I'm pretty sure.
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be?
True, Ningguang. I did not finish the Aranara quest, no.
Really? Wow. When you put it like that, it all makes sense. In that case, his newfound stardom is well deserved. He was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryou Commission. They said they had something important to discuss with him.
They are going to put him in jail,
I thought they'd come to arrest him at first. Turns out they couldn't have been friendlier to him. Seems like they really respect the guy.
Oh, I thought they were gonna be hostile towards Kazuha, but apparently not.
Just a little while ago, this would have been completely unimaginable.
After all, the Raiden Shogun's mindset has changed.
Thank you! Guess we'll go pay a visit to the Tenryou Commission.
All right then. I'll just stay here and carry on trying to fend off the crowd.
Good job! Oh, they have screenshots. Nice. Let's go! Let's go after Kazuha! Wow! Got you in the back crying. Oh wait, I probably should just travel? Here we go! Wait, are we gonna use him in the trial as well in this? Oh shoot. We're probably gonna use Kazuha, huh? Oh, look at him! He's so short!
Oh? It's you.
Hello.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation.
There was this strange-looking dude standing next to Ichiban. Oh, I think I saw it on Twitter. I think I saw it. The wig looks terrible, I gotta say. If it's like his real hair, it looks like a wig.
We invited Mr. Kaedehara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the Shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, I've been granted the chance to correct my clan's past mistakes, and for that, I'm deeply grateful.
Okay.
The Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over the years.
Why he's cute?
The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaedehara name.
Why is he cute?
Regarding the history of the Kaedehara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat informed?
I forget.
In short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the Shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional blade forging arts of the Almighty Shogun. The Kaedehara clan belonged to this class.
Gaiden is probably the wig origin, yes. We're probably gonna see how he got that horrible wig. He was probably looking at a K-pop magazine and was like, that's it. That's how I'm gonna look younger. Give me that.
But there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight and entered a period of great turmoil.
That's rad.
We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaedehara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaedehara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements, but also receive recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in the past.
Oh, so y'all recognize that it is excessive, okay.
In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you can understand why this was necessary.
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the Almighty Shogun and the shogunate at large.
I think he looks more like T.O.P. in the Fantastic Baby era.
However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture does not come without some strings attached?
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injustice. With the Kaedehara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaedeharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally come to an end. You will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City with the almighty shogun's blessing and full support of the shogunate.
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall walls of a stately abode.
They don't have interactions between Kazuha and Ei? After all that happened? Huh.
Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaedehara, and the art of blade making for which it stood. I do have a responsibility to restore their honor.
I sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulating through the populace will disappear.
What are the rumors?
Malicious rumors? All we heard on the way here was so much praise that we almost wondered whether there was another Kaedehara Kazuha in town.
I think maybe we misunderstood and people were trying to beat his ass?
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi
Okay.
is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaedehara really parried the Shogun's strike.
But he was protecting his friend.
Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaedehara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail, and Kazuha still looks fine.
Rest in peace, Teppei. Thank you for the follow.
That is correct. However, to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements at once is a more inconceivable notion still.
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or stardom my way.
His Q issue? You wouldn't have just not aged. Oh. We don't have enough A interactions? Oh, interesting. So I mean, it kind of makes sense that she does not have a lot of interactions with other characters though, because like she's very secluded, right? She decided to kind of like exclude herself from a lot of interactions. So I would imagine like she's still not comfortable with interacting with other characters. Maybe in the future, I don't know. It would be cool to see like an event in the future where she like interacts with Fontaine characters.
But perhaps if the shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this situation will blow over more quickly.
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought. It stands to benefit all of us.
It's always like that.
Please allow me some time to consider. In fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment. Well then, what brings the two of you here?
Yikes! We nearly forgot about the most important thing!
Yikes! You and Paimon recount the attack on the outskirts of
Why
town
would
to
such a
Kazuha.
dangerous individual be looking for me? No, this puzzles me as much as it does you. My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality. Over time, these techniques came to form something of a Kaedehara sword art, focused on blade testing, but with a full repertoire of combat forms. Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle. So it's hard to imagine that the similarity you speak of was coincidence alone.
All the more reason to watch your back! This guy was a serious nutcase.
But he was weak.
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury, or worse.
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to search for him.
Thank you. I must say I am now very curious about this matter, and I will also need some time to consider your offer. I will first join the Traveler in investigating the one who attacked her, then give you a conclusive answer upon my return.
Are we gonna use Kazuha now?
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
Oh god. Can't we
The
have like
detective
a...
agency knows the most about what goes on in town.
Shush, Paimon.
Let's see what Ryuji has to say.
This is Ryuji. Hello.
Hey there! We'd like to ask you a quick question. Do you know if anyone around here has been looking for him? For Kaedehara Kazuha, we mean.
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaedehara. I've heard a lot about you. It is an honor to finally meet you today.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault and would appreciate any help you can offer.
Okay.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. I can't seem to recall anything of immediate interest.
You should have specified who.
Mr. Kaedehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking for him. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaedehara's personal information.
What?
Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
Huh.
Millions? Of Mora? Whoa! Oh, wait. Even at that price, you probably still shouldn't.
I think you would, Paimon.
Please, accept my thanks for looking out for my privacy.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't make our money by revealing details of other people's day-to-day life just for the sake of it. Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for Mr. Kaedehara. But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as particularly unusual? The Tenryou Commission had very few leads. I thought you might have some information from different sources.
I am going to stop joining Kazuha's Story Quest.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryou Commission would absolutely get involved.
We doing Ganyu. Sorry, my voice is breaking. Ooh.
That does make sense.
What was that noise, Paimon?
Uh-oh. Looks like the trail's already run cold.
Hello, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a good day.
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere. Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now.
Is this your way of giving praise?
I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, I'm quite relieved that you were the one he targeted.
Oh, wow. Thank you for the follow.
It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life because of me.
But if it's us, it's okay, right? Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Kazuha.
For the poor victim, this would be a completely senseless crime.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaedehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow man is what drove you to fearlessly raise your blade against the almighty Shogun.
You flatter me. Truth be told, I don't know quite what came over me in that moment.
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. I will try my best to gather whatever leads I can for you. Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. It doesn't involve an attack, though. Let me tell you about it just in case.
Sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time.
Are those 2 samurai?
One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Oh, so that's probably the guy.
Amenoma. Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smithy. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely connected, but I don't know much in the way of details.
Why'd you have to phrase it like that?
I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps he is the one you are looking for.
Oh, he had a weird... I mean, not weird. It was a pretty cool sword.
Understood, though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to attack me.
Well... We'll investigate both incidents at the same time?
Sure, can't hurt. We never know what we might find out along the way.
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at the Amenoma Smithy.
Sounds good. All the best with your investigation. I'll get moving shortly myself.
Okay. Let's go. Oh, Amenoma reminds me the longest quest for a sword ever. And a sword that I don't even use anymore.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha. What brings you here today?
Huh? You 2 know each other?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the 2 clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects.
That was hard to close. Raiden Gokaden?
Ah, let me quickly explain. The Raiden Gokaden was the collective term for the 5 most acclaimed bladesmithing arts in Inazuma. The techniques of blade making were personally bequeathed to the Raiden Gokaden by the almighty Shogun, and over time, further honed and enhanced by the most talented craftsmen. Unfortunately, a series of events led to the gradual decline of many clans in the bladesmithing trade. Today, only the Amenoma clan has kept its art alive.
So sad.
You don't look sad.
It is a great pity indeed. In the old days, we each had our specialties. And just as iron sharpens iron, so too did we learn much from each other.
You know, one thing that I do not understand is if they already have like this body type for NPCs. Bro, what is happening to the airport today? Anyway, if they have this body type of these, you know, guy smithing in the back, why did they not use that for Ito? Like, I cannot deal with Ito's arms. They're like noodle arms. Even Alhaiten got bigger arms, and Alhaiten is a nerd. Like, every time that I see an NPC that has like a very like buff build, I think, why Ito is so like, why does he have noodle arms? Exactly, only the NPCs are buff. Like, what is that? Exactly, Fatuis are also buffed. I just don't get it. Like, listen, for a nerd like Alhaiten to have bigger arms, you know something went wrong. Oh my god, imagine if that was what happened. I don't know. I just... Listen, they could have changed it because they nerfed Rosaria. Okay? Rosaria actually had, you know, some knockers. I saw a video of like Rosaria in the beginning of the game, and they nerfed her a lot. So I don't see why they couldn't change Ito. Rosario got nerfed 3 times? Really? Okay, then. What was... I mean, honestly... the Jigo physics were just too much. Like, I just gotta say they went overboard with the Jigo physics. Like, if it was not for the Jigo, everything would be fine. But they really went. They really went with it. Like, the girl was just breathing, just like Himeko in Honkai Star Rail. Like, she's just breathing and her boobs are moving. Like, that's not how it works. Like, someone saw it and was like, oh, let's make it jiggle a lot. She had a bigger butt? Rosaria. The Radon of Genshin. Really? I did not see her butt. I just saw her jiggle. It was a lot. It was like exaggerated for real.
As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water as it turns stone to sand.
Shenhe belly button? Wait, did they hide her belly button?
There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in and day out, until both body and mind have memorized the craft, turning each motion of every technique into an intrinsic part of the bladesmith's life. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin art.
Oh my god, we're probably going to see Saito Hajime in here.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind from the moment that forging begins. For only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Why does it feel like at any moment Kazuha is just gonna be like, in my time?
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade chooses its owner. You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the Kaedehara clan has fallen on hard times, its ideals and virtues are alive and well.
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any noble aspirations on behalf of my clan.
Why is his hand covered in bandages, by the way? I don't think this was ever touched upon.
But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryou Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is wait for the news from the Tenryou Commission.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse, and neither of them came back.
I think that dude is being controlled by the sword.
Yes.
For some reason.
Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
It would not be the first time that they come with a demon sword sort of storyline. Originally in the game model, we could see Shenhe's belly button. Oh. Huh. Interesting. It's probably because of censorship, isn't it?
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing, and can sense even the most minute differences in blade quality. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the sword.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for, he attacked this friend of mine. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. Absolutely impossible. Yuya is not that kind of person. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of calming his mind. He has never gotten into a fight before.
Huh. Is that so?
If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Yuya would never draw his blade without a very good reason. But, with that said, it's equally out of character for him to just disappear, with neither farewell nor fair warning. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced, or otherwise compelled by circumstances unbeknownst to me. Anyway, should you find him, please
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us as well.
We still need to get the info from the Nagato family?
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two men met each other. Let's pay a visit to the Nagato household.
Okay. So I guess Kazuha's story quest is more of a talking story quest. Okay,
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now. My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
we didn't even say anything.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation. We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
Debt collection always reminds me of Red Dead Redemption.
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still trying to find out as much as we can to inform our search. With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some questions about your family's current situation?
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand why a collector would be strapped for Mora.
That's a long story. Ever since I've known him, he's been an avid collector of all sorts of things. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, I was happy to believe that they were just extremely important to him. Everything was fine when we first got married, but as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money just so he could pay for them.
Huh.
Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring his weapons even as debt collectors were descending upon our house.
That's everybody with their characters in Genshin Impact. Debt collectors banging on your door while you're like, look at my C6 R5 Kazuha with Freedom Sword. So pretty. And the debt collector's there in your door. And then you're gonna have to give your Genshin account to them to pay for all your debts.
He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. I'm happy he has a hobby and I'm willing to support him, but making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it so many times, but he never listens. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts, I would divorce him and take the children with me.
Wait, can you divorce an Inazuma? What? What time? What is like the time? The year, kind of. Because like there's a little bit of technology, but not like full on technology in this game. So I've always been kind of curious to know like the timeline that everything is going on.
Whoa!
Like in what time period is this inspired?
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. On most things, he leaves the decision-making to me.
Okay.
You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our family to the brink. After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, he awkwardly mumbled that he would pick out a few items to sell. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family?
It's important to set boundaries.
Had I not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament.
It's not your fault. He basically said that by himself. Want to hear 2 short jokes and a long joke?
And I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses, or if he was simply angry with me.
Wow.
The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
I see. I understand.
We have so many Sinos in chat. Every day a new Sino.
Ame no Mayuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale, a fire broke out at the warehouse, and both men disappeared.
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe he was feeling the pressure from the debts?
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned down.
He did.
Perhaps he's too afraid to come home, now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire, and he's got no way to pay off our debts. Even though I'm still a little mad at him, we're a family, and I want us to face our family's crisis together. As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things out.
But how do you know he's willing to turn on a new leaf? Like, he can just say, I'm gonna turn on a new leaf and then go back to bad habits. How are you gonna trust him after all of that?
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this situation than meets the eye. If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, it is quite unusual for this habit to change so drastically over a short period.
That's true.
But the information we gathered from the other side suggests Ame no Mayuya is also a mild-mannered man who would not be likely to start an argument.
Yeah, but he started a fight with us.
This situation is getting a little confusing.
A little confusing? More like completely mystifying.
Why do you gotta put your 2 cents when it's not necessary, Paimon? You can just stay quiet.
Let's try a change
I'm
of
sorry.
scenery and see if we can piece together what we've learned. Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything.
Thank you so much. I just want him to come home.
She just wanna talk. Call me a hater if you want, okay?
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their disappearance. The fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded, though its exact role is a mystery. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, Paimon was thinking that maybe someone accidentally knocked over an oil lamp and,
You didn't even go to the scene to say those words.
Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
Perhaps the fire was deliberately used to hide the truth?
An interesting explanation. I was also considering this possibility. Amenoma Yuya is an expert on swords. He could have noticed some problematic details about Mr. Nagato's collectibles.
Maybe it was fake?
Maybe he recognized a blade as a fake,
Ah.
or a well-known stolen item. Either way, after arguing about it, the two men agreed to hide the truth of this matter.
Wait, maybe the collector is like a thief?
They thought a fire would destroy everything. But then the Tenryo Commission began investigating and uncovered some incriminating details, so they fled to protect their secrets. But it's a far-fetched theory. I can't imagine how they would have been able to reach an agreement. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Amenoma Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted and passive. Neither seems like the type of person who is inclined towards initiating conflict.
But you gotta take into consideration that this is what people are saying. You don't know if they are truly like that.
Mr. Nagato, being heavily in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive to disappear after the fire. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there?
This also does not seem connected to the case of the attacker?
Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no other details that we've learned seem to link the two events together. Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker, namely that he is principally a practitioner of the blade testing techniques of Amenoma art, not those of the combat-oriented Ishin art.
Darn! We thought we could get two birds with one stone here, but at this rate, it's starting to look like a wild goose chase.
Let's keep going, since we've come this far. If we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some closure.
Call Hazel to solve it.
Okay, but where should we go now?
Let's head out of the city and
Go,
check out the
go!
warehouse. There's still a chance we may be able to find some shreds of evidence.
Okay. Oh.
Wait. I hear something ominous in the wind.
Okay.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that only you can hear.
Paimon probably farted.
As sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament, so...
I knew we could count on you.
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. The remnants of the Tatarigami.
Tatarigami?
Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy may prove to be of benefit to our investigation. We should remain vigilant and approach slowly.
Okay. Sure. Is it time to use Kazuha?
So it's an underground warehouse.
The force is definitely coming from down below.
The Force?
The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place, but the residue it left behind still hasn't dissipated completely. Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very long time.
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time.
Surely someone would have noticed.
From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys into violent monsters, but most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's unfulfilled will.
Oh.
Their interests become fanatical obsessions.
Huh.
Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder, amassing more and more possessions even as he put himself in grave debt.
So what should we do now? Go down and take a look?
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside.
That's dangerous. Girl, we always do dangerous things.
If we don't open this door, we can move no closer to the truth. You needn't worry. Both of us have faced far greater dangers than this. Relatively speaking, the risk here is trivial.
He fought Raiden Shogun. So we good. I still cannot fight Raiden though.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't see anything. It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
That was too scary! Paimon was so sure that the warehouse boogeyman was about to jump out at us!
God.
All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy source left this place. 2 ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them.
Let's hurry.
Yes, let's go. If nothing else, it's vital that we find out where this Tatarigami energy is coming from. Quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you. Perhaps you too will perceive its ominous presence in the wind.
Okay. Oh, we actually can see it. Huh. So I can't see like this. I can only see here. That's interesting. Oh, I thought they were gonna make us guess where things are, but no. The game is already giving us the answer.
From this point, the trail appears to split into 2. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here and seems to be dissipating slowly.
Mr. Nagato and Amenoma Yuya?
Quite possibly. Let's search the area.
But why would they be, like, if it's all of that, why would they be searching for Kazuha? Unless it's like a complete separate story?
Whoa! Look at all those hilly churls! They're acting really strangely!
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look.
Confess! Everybody stand back! Rain outlines your fate. Let me weave you a verse.
A festive reprise!
Fracture! Keep moving!
That's it?
It's...
Ugh! Look at this red stuff! What is it?
By the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink is bone dry. It must have been written quite some time ago.
Yes, I did pull Yoimiya's weapon, yes. I did not wail, okay. I know that whenever people see weapons, this is also my first thought whenever I see someone with a weapon, okay? I did not wail. I promise. I promise.
Well, let's take a look.
I am Nagato. I was wounded by Amenoma Yuya. He took my most precious blade. I chased him, but could not catch him. I lay down here to rest on account of my exhaustion. I thought that I might croak right here. My stomach kept on bleeding, but it seems that some strange power has sustained me. Why did he steal that blade? I was going to sell it to him. He even burned my warehouse down. It hurts, but for some reason I can't fall unconscious, so all I can do to distract from the pain is write. What will happen to Sachiko, Yuichi, and Yuji? I'm sorry to them. I really am. Only now do I realize how stuck in my ways I was, and how blind to my obsession. I must have been cursed. I collect all those strange and bizarre things, but they won me not one iota of happiness or warmth. Put all of it together, and it still would not have been worth a single word from her mouth. Thank you. And sorry for letting you down, Sachiko. Okay.
According to this letter, a conflict arose because Ame-no-ma Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to Mr. Nagato. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here to write this letter when his strength gave out.
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters, and I'm afraid he may no longer be with us.
Oof.
Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls. There's nothing more for us to find here.
How are we gonna tell his wife? Let's ask the Tenryo Commission to do a thorough search later.
Yes. Right now, we need to uncover some more important truths. If Ame-no-ma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk meeting the same tragic end.
Right, so let's get moving.
How did it come to this?
I wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to the influence of the Tatarigami.
So that is really a demon sword.
For a practitioner of the martial arts, the easiest desire to inflame would be their pursuit of further power and skill. All the clues that at first seemed disparate and disconnected, it seems that now we know the thread that runs between them. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only explains the series of events leading to the two men's disappearance, but also zeroes in on the attacker's identity.
Wait, you figured it out? So these two cases are connected after all?
Paimon is not following.
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. I will only be able to confirm my suspicions once we've met him in person.
Okay.
On with the search. We must stay vigilant. At any point now, we may find ourselves in danger.
Let's go. Okay. Oh, gee. This is like the Archon quest that we had to do this. Here? Wait, don't tell me I have to pass through that to complete the mission. Don't tell me. Do not tell me that I have. Okay, I don't.
He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
Why here? Is there anything special about this place?
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the aura may have lingered here at several different points in time.
Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
His voice changed.
Kaedehara Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before.
Okay, Paimon.
What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have against Kazuha?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Ame-no-ma Yuya that stands before us.
Hello, how are you doing?
But what if instead of facing Ame-no-ma Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
The blade?
Now that you mention it, it is giving off a strange light.
It's a pretty cool blade though, not gonna lie.
Whoa! Surely you don't mean... Are you serious?
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to subtly affect any living organisms in its vicinity. The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state of mind, and more recently using the sale as a means to affect, or rather, as a means to occupy Ame no Mayuya's body.
But even if he occupied his body, will he have to pay for the crimes that he committed? Or will they just be like, nah, he was possessed, so we're just gonna leave him be?
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition.
Okay.
I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams. As a descendant of the Kaedehara clan, you should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Not a sword, but like the guy, you know, the sword took the body of this guy, Yuya, right? The Amenoma Yuya. It was not him directly, but it was his body. So like, how are they going to decide? Like, let's say he goes to trial. How are they going to decide that he was really possessed? Like, they're just gonna take Kazuha's word and be like, yeah, Your Honor, I witnessed he was possessed by a sword that talks and took, you know, like the body of someone else. Like, how would this issue be resolved? Hello, how are you doing?
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. In the end, all he could do was to flee the nation by sea on a ship bound for Snezhnaya.
Evidence, trust me, bro.
He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, his skill, it culminated in his creation of me.
Yeah, he truly needs Yanfei for this situation.
He not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own.
They will send the sword to solitary confinement at penitentiary too. And Saito is gonna be the guard.
In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also an irreplaceable achievement in the art of blade forging.
So, swords can become conscious and control people?
They're not competent enough to handle the creation of a justice system and how it would work in a universe. I mean, I imagine that it's fair that they don't really have these written, because like usually as a player you should not be worried about this stuff. It's just that my imagination runs wild sometimes, and there's always like something in the story that I gotta question, because like, for example, this is a matter with the Tenryo Commission, right? So which means that it's a legal matter now. The guy committed a crime. So I would imagine they would have an outcome. So I was just wondering, how would they judge that? But in the end, I don't think it really matters in the story. I mean, it could matter in the sense of like adding more to the story, but yeah. True, we also saw Makoto's soul in the sword.
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a sharp and well-crafted one, but in all other respects an ordinary weapon. But that gave me the opportunity to take action. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. Moving from one person to the next, I controlled the minds of countless hosts along the way, each bringing me one step closer to my ancestral home.
Big Pokemon villain energy this sword has.
I seek but one thing: to face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power. the might of Ishin art.
She's not gonna fight you.
Ah, so Amenoma Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, what happens to those you've possessed when you've finished using them?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission. When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
How did the sword go to another person? Like, one person saw the sword and was like, ooh, let me grab this random sword from the floor. It's glowing.
You're awful.
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse until Amenoma Yuya handed himself over to me on a silver platter.
Edgy sword.
At long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenoma Yuya's body, I have found you. And by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun.
Hello, how are you doing? So, the sword wants to possess Kazuha. That makes sense.
Kaedehara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come.
Where should we start day 2 of Misty Island? You talked to the same lady that gave you the commission.
Now, give your body over to me!
That's how it works, for sure. Ah, we're gonna use Kazuha, no!
One with nature.
Okay. Let me take a look at Kaedehara Kazuha. Just, you know. Full support Kazuha, I guess. Oh, they're using Noblesse. Wait, what is this sword? Fillet blade? What is this sword? He seems like a cool character. They are using Noblesse on him. That's... Oh, it's C3. Okay, fine. C3 Kazuha.
Submit to me!
I'm going in!
Into the wind.
Submit to me!
Time to act.
He is truly a support in this build.
Witness the power of...
Wait, where is it? Huh?
Clouds high, the birds call. The wind knows me.
Join me and sever that divine light!
Do you see that? These dodges? Wow. I'm gaming. Hold on, I'm just gonna wait for his... Okay. Oh.
Do not stand in my way, or I will strike you down too!
He's very fun to play. But I gotta control myself. Yeah, I think that they build their characters just as a burst. Hey, how are you doing? I don't listen, I can't even pull him, okay, guys? I can't, all right? Listen, I don't have wishes, all right? Even if I try, it's not gonna happen, okay? It's not gonna happen. I do have 30 wishes, okay? 30. If for some reason Hoyoverse gives me a birthday gift within those 30 wishes, I will accept it. But I won't be spending money this time because when Zhongli comes, my wallet is ready because I think I want C1 Zhongli. Okay, I want C1 Zhongli. So I need to save. And yes, I am going to pull C1 Zhongli on purpose, okay? Because I love Zhongli and I want him to be special. Mona cannot be my only C1 C1 5-star. It has to be Zhongli. So I am going to save my money.
Your bluff's fooling no one. You've lost.
Want that extra pillar? Excuse me. Excuse me. It's nothing to do with the extra pillar. It's because I want powerful Geo Grandpa, okay? That's the only reason.
Lost. I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man.
Okay, Sword.
He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will.
They will smash you into pieces.
The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. And even if I were to lose my physical form, it is but a small setback. My consciousness shall endure.
Who does not want that pull? I don't?
By any means necessary, and any medium available, I shall return and fulfill my destiny!
I am giving him Homa. Okay, but it's not C6 Zhongli. It's gonna be C1 Zhongli with Homa. That's all. That's it. C1 with Homa. Not C6. My wallet is very fragile, okay?
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art.
I couldn't even see the fighting style. I was running away.
But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as a thinly veiled mania and despair.
Really? You can tell all that just from his moves?
As I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art convey the user's thoughts and feelings. Since the blade is currently possessing Aminome Yuya's body, its movements express the innermost thoughts of the blade. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition. You believe I am your only hope.
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin Art's secrets. The little that you know barely scratches the surface. In that regard, why would I ever need your help?
You just said that you wanted to get Kazuha to do the dirty job. What do you mean?
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its owner. Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without making physical contact.
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a habit of never touching his collectibles.
Oh, I forgot about this detail.
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his collectibles did you finally have an opportunity to reach out to Aminome Yuya and make your escape.
But if he never touched his collectibles, how did he get the sword? How? Because he had to put the sword in the warehouse, right? Like, he had to put it on display. So, like, how? I'm not gonna question.
And what of it?
Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a despair in you that is so strong it threatens to overwhelm you. You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand and too heavy for you to bear. Each step you have taken has come at a great cost. I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your fear of losing everything you had achieved grew, and the more you wished to run from the truth. But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since become a delusional fantasy.
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away from achieving my goal.
You're not.
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities and showed a blatant disregard for human life. Even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have desired?
You...
Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the ones who wielded you as mere tools to do your bidding. How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony between a blade and its bearer?
Silence, you blabbering fool!
Kazuha released in 1.6 and got Story Quest in 2.8. Oh. Huh.
I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought into being. I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly. But you also underestimate my resolve.
And you should face reality.
Are we fighting again?
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not self-reflection, and certainly not your so-called reality. It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedehara clan. If you wish to save this man, then offer me your body in exchange.
How stubbornly you stick to your wayward path. I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet, and I will put your strength to the test.
Exorcisms and bad weather on normal Monday in Inazuma? That's right.
What? Surely you're not planning to agree to his demands.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more than convince you. Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your control.
I accept.
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is a risky strategy.
This is the only way to save Amenoma Yuya. If we don't do this, he'll forever be the Blade's puppet. The Cursed Blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests his heart is still not completely devoid of honor. The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato and Amenoma Yuya fell prey to it. Since I don't have any similar kinds of obsessions, I should be able to put up some resistance for a while.
But even so...
Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me.
Shut up!
We have a chance here to save an innocent victim. I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
I can't stop
Your
you again.
disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things I wish to learn too. Now, take me in your hand.
It is floating! Wow! Oh my god! Kazuha!
Kazuha?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment. It's all right. So far, this was as I expected.
What about Yuya? If something feels up, let me know immediately.
I will. Thank you.
What should we do next? Have you got a plan, Kazuha?
We find some enemies.
He wants to play TCG now.
Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced many real fights. If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter a state of harmony between blade and bearer, it cannot unleash its true power. If he wants to avoid reality, then we need to fight until he has no choice but to face it. He shouldn't last long in an intense combat situation.
Wait a minute! Paimon remembers hearing about something from the adventure Adventurers Guild. Since the Takasukasa clan abandoned that secret base, it's been held by Ronin ever since.
That should fit the bill.
Ah, all right. Please lead the way.
What about Amanoma Yuya? What should we do with him?
The blade says he'll let Aminoma Yuya trail us silently. Although he hasn't regained his own consciousness yet, he is not in any immediate danger.
Are we sure this is a good idea? It's a pretty treacherous journey. Okay, fine. Just be careful.
Let's go. I guess it does not matter my team because I'm gonna be using Kazuha anyway. Are we using the demon blade? Oh, we are. Wait, is this a blade in the game? Oh, it is. Prized Ishin blade. Huh, interesting. I've never seen this blade in the game though, so I imagine it's only on the...
Leave everything on this journey to me.
It's my lucky day.
One with nature.
More.
Time to go.
Wow! I am a professional at using Kazuha.
The wind knows me. As one with wind and cloud.
I am a professional using Kazuha.
Into the wind.
Wow. Everybody's
How
dead.
are you feeling? You okay?
You would pull for that sword even if it was trash. It is really cool looking. Right. It feels like so natural to use Kazuha. I wanna cry.
I'm all right. The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult to use.
I have no wishes.
Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much longer.
Something else on your mind?
How strange. Rather than trying to control me, he is instead trying to match my fighting rhythm.
He learning.
Let's keep going.
Oh, okay. Please, I want this story quest to end. End. Story quest, please end.
It's my lucky
The
day.
wind knows me.
Boom! How's this?
One with nature.
Finally, to the fairy. It's my lucky day.
The wind knows me. The clouds high. The birds call.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
Something's up with the blade.
That is so easy. That is so easy to use. What? Wow. Wow. It's grown dimmer.
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult for me to wield. He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps persisting, he will likely break apart at any moment.
But what would that do to Amanome Yuya?
I will be careful with it. He also says he does not have any plans to give up easily.
Listen, everybody, shush. Let's not talk about Kazuha anymore, okay? Let's enjoy the hangout, not hangout, the story quest, okay? let's not do not give hope to the streamer. Okay, the streamer is poor. Okay? Y'all enjoy your Kazuhas.
He's still trying to achieve his goal.
The streamer is poor. I can use him here.
Time to go.
I don't have materials. I don't have nothing for him. So like it's fine. It's okay. You know, I don't have artifacts. I don't have a weapon. I don't have materials. I have nothing. Stay there and you have a permanent Kazuha.
The wind knows me. Time to go. Into the wind. Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
Easy.
Are you okay? It looked like you were really struggling the entire fight.
What do you mean struggling? What do you mean? I didn't even get hit. Paimon, what are you talking about, girl? I dodged perfectly this entire fight. What do you mean?
Yes. And it looks like he's reached his limit.
This girl.
The sheen's grown a bit dimmer again. It doesn't look anywhere near as impressive as it did at the start.
Perhaps this time we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
Show me your true form.
True form? What are you talking about? Huh? What the? Is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk.
Oh. It really looks like it's about to break.
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the almighty Shogun. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left you battered and broken.
That's the sword? It was so cool before.
It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy.
Though the truth is right there in front of him.
I finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of harmony with me. For perhaps then you would still be able to wield commendable power. But regrettably, we are nothing alike. I will never understand your obstinacy and cruelty, nor can I empathize with the one who made you. The only one who truly understood you had already passed away by the time you were born.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
There they are! Take them down!
Okay, more fighting!
Where do they keep coming from?
You shouldn't fight with this blade anymore.
Yup. We can help this time.
Don't worry. I'll use my own blade.
Okay.
It's just more of the same.
Okay. Okay. Oh. Shit.
My blade!
Ouch.
One with nature. The wind knows me. As one with wind and cloud.
Dead.
You fought way better with your own sword.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, you have seen me for who I really am. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. You are the first person to know the truth. I thought that if I could achieve Ishin harmony with you, perhaps there would still be a ray of hope for me.
Well, there isn't.
But in this too,
I'm
you
sorry.
have failed.
Indeed. No matter how hard I tried, I could not attain that perfect harmony that your personal blade does with you. Too much time has passed. My physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen.
It was such a cool sword before. They should actually make that sword like the glowing one.
Yours is
So
the blade
pretty.
that took on the Muso no Hitotachi. And what a magnificent blade it is. Perhaps I shall never reach that level of glory.
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my travels in Liyue.
Okay.
What?
Forging and maintenance are both important for a blade, but they are not everything. This blade has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Plus, in the moment that I most needed it, I received aid from another power. Skill, blade, determination, and desire. All these must be aligned in the practice of Ishin art. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have been aware, your ability to possess your own consciousness derived from the power of the Tatarigami. Tatarigami is a malevolence from the ancient past. It is the source of your mania and savagery. Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was constantly trying to seize control of my body.
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it. It is an integral part of my consciousness.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. But I do not know whether you yourself have any intention of trying to fight it. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination you were destined never to reach. The moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true potential. And yet there was no way for you to turn your back on his ambition. You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything. My life, my form, my consciousness, and purpose. How could I possibly deny him his wish? I said to him, "Do not worry. From here on, I shall forge your legacy." How could I go back on my word?
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say.
Where are you going, Kazuha?
He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. Let's give him some time to reflect on things.
Okay. I can never use Kazuha anymore. No. No. No more Kazuha for me. No. I'm gonna tell my mom. I'm telling my mom that the game is being mean.
When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was transported to a strange dimension. It was somewhere I've never been. A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moonlight. His breaths were weak, and his life near its end. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final words.
Wow. That was the Blade's memory, wasn't it?
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. The Ishin art had been dealt a devastating blow by the desertion of its best smiths. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred, but to atone for his actions. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, but he could never again return to his homeland. His sole wish was to one day return his single, proudest creation back to the land of his birth. So he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. But he never wished to rival the gods. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith, that they were still worthy of being trusted.
So that's the true story. But after that, the blacksmith's intentions were warped by the Tatarigami, slowly turning his proud creation into the cursed blade of today.
Right. I believe the bladesmith might never have known that the power he worked with was that of the Tatarigami. The hatred within that power is what sent the blade down its ill-fated path. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities, but only because it lost its original master. No one was there to correct its errors when it was losing its way.
Shame it's too late now.
Yes, it is too late. Time would not wait or stop because of his determination. While the world moved on, his ambition remained stubbornly stuck at that fleeting moment at the dawn of his journey. He seems to have calmed down, though. Let's go and check in.
Okay. Listen to what the cursed blade has to say. Wow, cursed. Okay. Sorry.
When I look back at the past, I can remember the day of my forging like it was just yesterday.
I wish I had another camera to show you guys my dog right now. The way he's laying on the sofa. It's so funny.
I once told him that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes. Such was the debt I owed to him for giving me the gift of consciousness. But darkness and slaughter numb the mind. Over time, I lost sight of the difference between gratitude and grudge. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition, I also defiled it.
You are finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the bet, I will honor the agreement and release Ame no Mayuya.
Yay.
But I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the entire purpose for my existence. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself and my creator?
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix, too? Jeez, don't push your luck, mister.
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Ame no Mayuya as promised.
If he is still in this position when I will try to take a picture of him. He's so funny.
My physical form, as well as the knowledge I possess, should still be of some value to you.
His attitude has grown a lot milder. What do you think, Kazuha? Should we give him a chance?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. When I was first forged, my maker was already terminally ill. He told me that he had wanted me to have the grandest opening battle. Alas, after that, he never rose from his sickbed again. Nor have I ever had the chance to prove myself in battle since. My fights were devoid of any noble meaning. They were merely the next step in my never-ending journey. The next in a long line of transgressions. You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand in battle and experience a true duel between samurai.
Request your hand? Is that a marriage proposal?
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
I will release Ame no Mayuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you can convince him to commit to a fight with you. He must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire a good fight.
Understood. Then let's start by waking him up and seeing if he has the stamina and will to fight.
Yuya finally regains conscious. Oh.
I see. He used my body to inflict harm on others.
Oh, the voice changed.
I utterly despise him and his actions. But since he stayed true to your agreement by releasing me, he must still have some remaining semblance of honor. If a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I am willing to put myself forward. I do not wish to be a mere victim in this story.
There's no need to worry. We'll vouch for your innocence to the Terrio Commission.
Oh, so we're hiding Yanfei for him, I see.
Thanks for your help. Who knows how this would have ended without your intervention.
All right, then let's move on. More Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't stay here. In any case, for a final duel, I think we should aim for a greater sense of ceremony.
Are we gonna fight right now? No. Yay! 10 Primo Gems! Wow! Yoimiya, you better be so grateful, girl. You better be so grateful. I spent so many wishes on this weapon of yours, girl. You better be so grateful. You better start critting. You better start doing those crits in all of the hits. You better. Like, next time I put you in a fight, I gotta see the crits in every single one of your 5 hits. The guilt trip? That's enough? For what? Hopefully for C1 Hazel. Yo, streamer luck does not exist, okay? It doesn't.
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Crux Clash.
Have I tried Shout? Yes, I have. That was a much more relaxed occasion.
Yep, we still can't let our guard down. Even now, Paimon has a sneaking suspicion that Blade hasn't told us everything.
Huh.
Still, even if he's way past the point of redemption, it's hard not to feel a teensy bit sorry for him.
That's enough to dream about it. Who is better? They're not comparable. They have different roles in the team. Xiao is a main DPS, Kazuha is a support. So they're not comparable.
Are you ready?
Ready? Okay. All right then. Successor of Ishin art, Kaedehara Kazuha.
Successor of Amenoma art, Amenome Yuya.
Honored to cross blades with you.
It is my honor also.
Osmanthus wine stays the same as I remember.
Into the wind. That hurt. The wind knows me. Time to go.
Oh shit!
Into the wind. Clouds high. The birds call. Time to go. One with nature.
The guy just went to the water.
Into the wind.
Check my sword. Okay. Well, it's 0% attack. Nice base attack. Let's see. When a normal charge or plunging attack hits an opponent, it will release an accursed spirit, dealing AoE damage equal to 100% of attack. 180% of attack. Is this sword usable in any situation?
The wind knows me.
Thank you for the experience.
What was that? Did you see Yoimiya in the air?
Although he appears battered and broken, in your hands it seems he's regained a glimmer of brilliance. His sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away. But
You also fought well.
I skipped.
I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
you need not seek my forgiveness. Nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim's behalf. It is too late for all of that.
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions as mine alone, and not let them stain the legacy of Ishin art. I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but the Ishin art still has a worthy successor in Kaedehara Kazuha. I beseech you, please understand this.
You going to jail?
Yes, I too trust Mr. Kaedehara to do the right thing.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma art.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy. Maybe we can go back there together.
What does he want to go there for?
I'm not sure, but I think that all this is about to come to an end.
Okay. Yoimiya just in the end of the story all of a sudden. Yoimiya, you better be grateful for this thundering pose. I had to forsake Alhaiten and Kazuha for this. You better be happy. I hope you enjoy it. Arrow. Oh brother, let's go there.
Oh, it's Yuya! You have returned!
Yep, he didn't commit any crimes.
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return safely.
Yeah, I remember that was like a glitch on my game, Lumine inside of Lumine. That was so weird. You tell Minamoto about the various things that happened.
A prized Ishin blade. Turned weapon that controls the human mind.
Yep.
Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of possibility. This is a great pity. But I have some good news as well. Ryuji, from the Bonton Sango Detective Agency, tells me that they've found the missing Mr. Nagato.
Wait, he's not dead?
Really? Is he okay?
Yes. Badly wounded, but he will live.
Kazuha, you said he died.
And now that Yuya is back, it seems like the final ending to this story is a happy one after all.
What a terrible detective you are.
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the blade whispering in your ear again?
Yes.
Whispering?
He said he wants to take control of me for a brief moment.
Are you letting him?
What? No way! Hasn't it learned its lesson?
Kazuha was just being a bit dramatic. It seems like it.
He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. And he assures me that he won't use my body for anything nefarious. I have decided to let him do it.
Guess there's nothing we can say to change your mind, huh?
I trust your judgment.
Thank you. I will explain my reasons later. Okay. I am ready. Let us begin. Please, stay true to your promise.
Thank you for the follow.
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything? You mean...
Yes. The cost is my entire consciousness. You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin.
It looks
This
pretty
name
now.
is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
It looks pretty now, the sword. Oh, wow. Huh. After leaving the Amano Midi, you learn of the blade's final words.
That's why he said it had to be done in that order. His consciousness will disappear forever after fulfilling the bladesmith's wish.
Kazuha finding his desire to play TCG.
Kagotsurube Ishin.
Rivers
it was
of
the
blood.
first time I ever heard his name. It seems like deep down he disapproved of his own actions, and thus chose to bury this name deep within his heart. Only in the final moments, before his consciousness faded, was he willing to entrust it to another.
Seems like he really, really wanted to fulfill his maker's wish.
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation to keep going forward also fueled the stubborn determination that blinded him to the path ahead. Speaking for myself, I'd rather see him recognize and atone for his mistakes than see him punished for them.
The remnants of defeated gods are nothing to scoff at.
I understand. Perhaps this is a flaw in my personality. I've always been captivated by grand aspirations. Hearing his wish to rival the divine light touched something inside of me, just as the sight of those who fought to repeal the Vision Hunt decree did. Your quest to face the gods and trace your sibling inspires me in the same way. After everything I've seen, perhaps these pursuits fascinate me a little more than they should.
Oh, Kazuha.
I will continue to support you from this point on. Know that you will have my assistance whenever you need it.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's the last time that I'm using Kazuha besides the trial events. Stop lying to me. I'll hold you to your word.
Wait, shouldn't we also go update Kujo Kamaji?
Till next year, buddy. Yes. That's a lie.
Oh, you're right. We need to tell him about the findings of our investigation.
Cruel. You guys are so cruel for voting on his story quest. So cruel.
And it's also time to give him a response to the offer he made me.
You see the pain in my smile? Right? Pure pain. You hate Surumi Island? Why? What did the Surumi Island did to you? And you're proud to admit that? See, you know what's up. You know what's up. You're see, you're not making me suffer. Thank you. Thank you for voting on Ganyu. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to talk about Kazuha anymore. We're finishing the story quest and never looking at Kazuha, okay? I'm only pulling for Alhaiten on people's accounts. No Kazuha. I'm gonna cry. Wait, where is it? Oh, Kamaji is here. There we go.
You've returned. I hear that the issue has been resolved. Though this was a treacherous investigation indeed, we're most fortunate that no lives were lost.
I still don't know how the guy survived, but okay.
The Tenryou Commission has already attended to the danger at the warehouse. The investigation into Amanome Yuya should conclude soon. I do not believe he will be charged with any crime.
Wow.
Wow, you sure kept your ear to the ground.
Wait, why me and Paimon had the same reaction? I don't like this.
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer. Please take a look at this blade.
What's this?
Kagotsurube Ishin, a weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging art of the Kaedehara clan.
We're not besties.
By means of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue to study and pass on the secrets of Ishin art.
I have a better Paimon voice?
And so, it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations, learning more about this blade as I go.
I see. I understand.
The Kaedehara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to continue on this path.
Bye, Kazuha.
Were I to accept your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangonomiya. That would not suit me.
Right. You're right about that.
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I am aware, but I still desire to continue walking my own path.
Very well. I can understand. Then let's pretend this offer was never raised. However, if you should ever change your mind or find yourself in need of the Shogunate's assistance, please do not hesitate to inform me.
Great. Thank you for your generosity.
Where will you travel to next, Kazuha?
We don't need to know.
I'll probably take to the seas with Captain Beto again for now.
You once had a nightmare that there's a place full of Paimons in Tivat? Wow.
As for my next destination...
Don't tell me.
Let's see where the wind takes me.
Okay. Wow, we got the sword. Oh, nice. Yay. Okay, Kazuha, assemble.
As one with wind and cloud.
Here we go. Come home. No hesitation. Okay, please. It's here.
Why don't I tell you a story?
Sorry for your ears. I want the 50-50. I'm sorry for your ears. Oh my god, I'm sorry. 77 PD.
One with nature.